Hello, welcome to the session. In this session, we'll discuss about the introduction of cloud computing. So, the very first question comes to our mind: what do you mean by cloud? So, by the IBM definition, what is that cloud is a delivery of on-demand computing resources, everything from the application to the data centers over the internet on a pay-for-use basis. So it means like if you have internet connectivity and you have a accessible devices like laptop, desktop, smart TV and tablet, and you have the internet connectivity, you can connect to the cloud and you can access the services like from the application to the data center. So all kind of services you can access through the internet, and that is an also pay for use basis, means how much time you will utilize the services. Accordingly you have to pay for that vendor who is providing the cloud services. And by the NIST, National Institute of Standards and Technology, they have given also one very good definition. Like cloud computing is a model for enabling convenient on-demand network access to a set pool of configurable computing resources like networks, servers, storage, applications, and services that can be rapidly provisioned and released with minimal management effort or services provided by providers interaction. So what does it mean? Like you have a requirement of so and so services like five virtual machines with some SQL databases or some applications. So this is on demand, means what is your demand, what is your requirement at this particular point of time. So you can get access through the network. You have to have a network connectivity which is with the accessible devices like laptop or desktop or tablet, smart TV, etc. So we can access the resources from a set pool of configurable computing resources. Means the cloud vendor will manage the huge data center where they are providing end-to-end services. They have thousands of servers, storage devices, networks, all are confined in a single data center or in the multiple data centers in the multiple locations. They are providing the services, and that can be provisioned very easily. Just you have to visit their website, and by pressing few of the button clicks, you can get your services. So the management effort also very less. Within few seconds, you can have your computing resources. So which is very beneficial for your business. So this is the definition provided by IBM for and NIST, and there are many definitions. And there is a very simple definition that is cloud computing means it provides services to access programs, applications, storage, network, servers over the internet through the browser or the client side application on your laptop or PC or mobile devices or smart TV, tablet, etc. by the end user without installing, updating, and maintaining them. While accessing any services, we are not managing all those things. Someone is managing somewhere, we don't know. But we have to approach for a particular vendor. There are a lot of cloud vendors out there, like Microsoft Azure, Amazon Web Services, IBM Bluemix, Google Cloud Computing, all those things. There are multiple vendors out there. So without managing all those things, you are getting your services. But we have to have the internet, and you have to have the client side applications like laptops or PC or tablets, so that you can access the internet services, the cloud computing services by the internet. through the internet. You can sit anywhere in the world, but you can access the cloud computing services. And what is data center? If you want to build a data center, what is the requirement? Like there would be a, like, we have to have a building, a physical building, very isolated building, and we have like power supply 24 by 7, cooling 24 by 7, and you have to have fire suppression facilities, air conditions, all those things. And you have to have the all the computing devices like servers and storage devices, network devices, all the network connectivities, everything you have to do. And you have to have a lot of engineers who can work, we can build the data center, who can provide the services. And you have a lot of components, uh, small components like tor switches, power supply unit, power distribution units, everything. It is confined in a isolated room or isolated building, from where we can get all the computing services. So that is called data center. If you physically wanted to see the data center how it looks like, you can Google it, so that you can get it the image. So this is like one data center image where we can have the racks. This is a single rack, and this is another single rack. So what I'll do is this is like, single rack. This is one rack. I'll use the red pen. Yeah, this is single rack, and this is another rack, and this is another rack. So this is called one row. So we can have lot of rows in the data center, and we can have multiple racks. So here in this rack we can have one our servers, storage devices we can stack here. You can put, and one server having some u count like 2 inches, like two holes are there. So in between two holes we can say that is one u count. So like this, one server having two u counts, and some servers having like four u counts, all those things. So that is the data center management, data center, um, some concepts are there. So I should not discuss all those things here. So this is the data center, and here in the offside of the tor we can have like tor switches, the small switches, and the big switches are somewhere else we can keep in the data center, where the internet ISP providers are, they have providing the internet connectivity. And from there, from the big switch, the main switch, it will come to the tor switches, the network connectivity, and all the networks are connected in the backside of the all the servers or storage devices. So this way we can build the data center. So Google, Microsoft, and Amazon, they have a very huge data center where they can keep all the networking devices, all the computing devices, and they are providing the services to us as a cloud services. So that is all about data center. It is a very small introduction about the data center, but there are a lot of things are there: how to design the data center, how to maintain the data center, and how to provide the smart and support for the data center, how to manage all those things. There is a big concept is there, for the dedicated concepts are there, and dedicatedly we can discuss over there. But here, so this is the brief, you know brief about the data center. What is data center? So the data center confines with all the equipments, from where we can get the cloud services. And the deployment model means how to approach, which type of model we have to, you know adapt. There are four cloud deployment models are there. One is private cloud, another is hybrid cloud, another is public cloud, and the last one is the community cloud. Private cloud in the sense, like in our company, the internal users, internal people, like the company people who uses the services, it is not accessible the computing resources are not accessible by the public, by the outside persons, that is called the private cloud. Means I have a data center in my company. There I can we have to enable the computing services in the data center, and you can access all the services provided by the data center, provided by the cloud, and that can be used internally, that can be used by the private people, not the public access. So that type of deployment model of the cloud, we can say it is a private cloud. In the public cloud, there are public cloud vendors are there like Amazon and Microsoft Azure, blue mix of IBM and Google Cloud. They are providing the public cloud. They are the vendors for the public cloud. Very, very popular vendors like Amazon, Azure, Microsoft Azure. So what, by using the public access, by using the public IP addresses or the host name, you can access all the services. You can access the computing resources, but you have to have the internet connectivity and the devices like laptop and desktop or smart TV, all those things. So that just you can access the endpoints and you can get the services. They will provide the access endpoints. You have to have the client software like the internet browser. So the public cloud, the public people, you, me, and someone else can access. You have to approach the vendor so that according to your requirement, they'll providing you the computing services. So that is called public cloud. Means you can sit anywhere in the world and you can access the services by the cloud vendor. The hybrid, you have an organization and or you have a business, you want to host your very very critical servers in a private cloud like own data center you have, and you want to get some services from the public cloud. So there is a gateway to communicate with private cloud as well as the public cloud also. So that type of the mixing kind of private and public cloud, if you have the service, that type of service, you can say it is a hybrid cloud. Means you have the access, you have you are utilizing both the private clouds as well as the public cloud. So that type of deployment model we can say it is a hybrid cloud. And the community cloud. The community cloud is a service model that provides a cloud computing solution to a limited number of individuals or organizations. What does it mean? Means there are few organizations which can which has the same type of services. Means they have the similar kind of services, they required the same type of services, so they can be approached for the community cloud. Means this cloud approach is for a few people or individuals or few organizations, so they can participate and they can be managed all the services that can be provided by the third party or that can be provided by any cloud vendor. So the similar kind of services provided to a group of people or group of the organizations or few organizations or few individuals, we can say that type of cloud is called community cloud. Means a similar type of services can be utilized by the few organizations or similar focusing service organizations. So they can be utilized with less price that competing the community cloud services. So that type of approach we can say it is a cloud deployment model of community cloud. So this is the picture of hybrid cloud and public and private cloud. The hybrid cloud is the combination of public as well the private cloud, and we can have the service cloud service model like what is software as a service, platform as a service, and infrastructure as a service. In a software as a service, it is used by the end user. Means only the software I have to access. I should not manage the server. I should not manage the patching activity, the network, the storage, all those things. Only I only the software. So that is called software as a service. Platform as a service. This service can be utilized or used by the developers or programmers. They need only the platform like a database and some sort of softwares where they can deploy, they can develop their programs. So that type of platform they need. So that is called platform as a service. And the third one is infrastructure as a service. Means the system administrators, network administrators, they require this type of services. Like I have to I have the requirement of 10 or 20 or 100 of EC2 instances. EC2 instances in the AWS cloud, we can say for the virtual machine, and some instances we can say some other cloud vendors we can say instances, or in AWS cloud we can say it is EC2 instances. So EC2 instances in the sense it is a virtual machine of any operating system you can choose. So that can be managed by the infrastructure as a service. So I have to, my requirement is like I have to buy, or I have to utilize 10 virtual machines of so and so operating system, so and so network, so and so virtual private cloud, virtual private network, and so storage. So all these requirements I can achieve, I can access by this infrastructure as a service model. So here I have to manage my own operating system. I have to manage my own network. Own network in the sense the cloud is providing everything, but we have to define our own infrastructure. I have to manage our own infrastructure there. I have to design in such a way that it would be looks like we are maintaining all those things. It can be isolated from other service organizations. So that type of service we can say infrastructure as a service. So there are three service models: software as a service, platform as a service, and infrastructure as a service. In that service model, what we are managing. So if I'll go for our traditional data centers, like our own data centers, I have to manage end to end, like networking, storage, services, servers, virtualization software, or ways, middleware, runtime, data application, everything I have to manage in our traditional or own data center. But if I want to go for the infrastructure as a service, what I have to manage? I have to manage my OS, my middleware, my runtime, my data and applications. But if you go for the platform as a service, I need application and data that I have to manage. That's all. But if you go for software as a service, you should not manage anything. Just you can access the software. That's all. So this is the service model provided by the cloud computing. And the last thing is why we'll go for the cloud computing, or why we'll go for the cloud services. There are many benefits we can highlight it here, like trade capital expenses for variable expenses. Means it is a pay only for how much you want to consume. Means how much time you have utilized the services, that much amount you have to pay for the services. So there is no upfront investment. So there is the first benefit. And if you use a huge amount of services, you can get some discounts. So that is called benefit from the massive economic of scales. If you expand your cloud services, if you want to utilize many servers, many services, then the cloud providers will give you some discount. That is also means the cost to company, the benefit for the company is huge. If you build your own data center, the upfront investment is huge, and you don't know how to how to customize, and how much the client requirement at this particular point of time, you cannot calculate very accurately. You cannot calculate all those things. We have to guess something, less than that of the requirement, or it can beyond, you know beyond of our requirement. So that is also very fluctuation way of calculating. There is no exact calculation of how much service I need at this particular point of time in our own data centers. So sometimes we cannot meet our requirement, and sometimes we can have sufficient uh, free space, free services, free, you know, capacities. So that is a waste of our upfront investment. And stop guessing about the capacity. The same thing what I told, like, you know, if you want to build our own data center, there is no 100%, there is no estimation that how much I require for the cloud, the computing capacities, like the storage and the services and the servers, how many capacity required by the client, we don't know. If the client will give some list of the requirements also, we cannot meet completely, or it may go beyond, or it may be less than the estimation. So that will happen in the our own data centers. So the upfront investment would be very very high. And increase speed and agility. If you want to develop something very quickly in our own data center, we have to build everything from the scratch. Like I have to rebuild my operating system, I have to rebuild my networking, I have to confine the networking concepts, and I have to give the access to that services, and I have to install a lot of software which is required by the developers. So it is very very hectic, and it can take long time. But if you go for the cloud, very quickly, within few seconds, within few button click, you can get the service. So that type, by that way, we can increase our speed and agility of the services if you go for the cloud. Stop spending money running and maintaining the data centers. If you have your own data center, what you have to do is you have to manage end to end. Like power should be there 24 by 7, cooling should be there 24 by 7. You have to have lot of facilities, like the fire protection facilities you have to maintain. You have to, there are a lot of office wise, you have to, for cleaning up the data center, for managing the data center, a lot of engineers are required. So AMC, annual maintenance cost would be very very high if you go for the your own data center. It is very difficult for the small companies to build their own data center, because upfront investment is very very huge. They cannot afford for that. Only the big companies, they have their own data center. So it is very difficult to go for a their own data center for the small scale businesses. So but if you go for the cloud, it is very very less time, very very secure, and there is no need to maintaining the data center. It is just access the services as quick as possible and the easiest to pay. And the more benefit is like how much you utilize, that much you have to pay accordingly. Go global in a minute means you can easily deploy your application in any region around the world. You can deploy your applications. You can access the cloud computing services in which region you want. Means my client is at USA. If I'll build my application in India, it is not worthy, because the latency should be very very more. So the client get the latency. So I have to deploy my services, or I have to provide the services from the region where the client is sitting. If my client is sitting at a USA, I have to, it is better to build the application in the USA region. So it is go global. It's very 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 easy, and it is in a minutes we can go uh, for that service in that particular region. But if I want to build my data center in a client place, it is a lot of work, and I cannot do it in a you know like 5 days of time, or 1 week, or a month. It may take years and years. So that is the very very benefit we are getting out of this cloud computing. There are a lot of cloud vendors here, like VMware, Terramark, Amazon Web Services, Joint, Google Cloud Platform, and Microsoft Azure Digital OSM, and Microsoft Azure. A lot of cloud vendors are there now in the market. So they are providing the cloud computing services. So this is all about introduction of the cloud. Thank you so much.